best car, SUV, or truck, guess what? You're in luck. Frontier Motors is down the street. Got the best deals that can't be beat. Don't overpay, come in today. Doing business the old-fashioned way. Frontier, we've got the right price. Frontier, we'll treat you mighty nice. Frontier Motors, low overhead country.
And I am pleased to present to you the owner of that fine establishment, ready, willing, and more than able to take any calls from you. Any inquiries should you want to get the price of a car, truck, or an SUV that you're thinking of buying or selling or trading in. Give us a call at 476-1007, 476-1007, or if you're outside the calling area, like in Alabama, add 888 to that number and make it a toll-free call. So without further ado, let us turn to Mr. Iven Struckle.
Hey, Don, thanks so much for the for the introduction. And we have once more a double format, which means that this is live on the radio. So if you're driving down in your car or you're sitting at home listening to 100.7 FM, this is a live show. What we do on this show is we talk about cars, what's going on in the car industry, and also car values. And you might also be watching this on TV. We're videotaping this for our cable subscribers in our area. And we've got a pretty wide range that we are covering right now with our cable subscribers. And if you're watching this on cable TV, of course, it's a recorded show, which we do twice a month. And what we do is we kind of let the people in our area know that there is a car dealership in Pensacola that gives advice to people whether they're buying a car or whether they're not buying a car. Excuse me. What I mean by that is, let's say you want to know what you should sell your car for. You're not interested in buying a car. Maybe perhaps you got a company car. Maybe it's a third car that's just sitting there. Maybe you're doing the Dave Ramsey thing, going from a two-car family down to a one-car family, trying to save the insurance money, the gas, and the maintenance on a car, and you just want to get rid of that car. You don't necessarily have to stop in at Frontier Motors. You can join us on the show by dialing 476-1007, and I can give you not only the book values, which you don't need me to get that. The book values, you can just Google used car values on the internet, and you're going to find an Edmunds and a Kelly Blue Book, and also a consumer's version of the NADA. We use a little bit different format. What I like to call is the real values, and the real values are a little bit different than book values. Real values, for example, would be the Black Wholesale Guidebook. The Wholesale Guidebook is a guide that gives us what's going currently on at the auctions. And what that means is that I just happen to open it up, and here's a 2012 Range Rover. And it's an Evoque, which is their new sporty edition model, and it says that the premium edition has an average wholesale of $34,300 and a clean wholesale of $36,300. That's about a $2,000 spread between average wholesale and clean wholesale. Now, that Black Wholesale Guidebook is going to be quite a bit lower than the NADA book that you're going to see online. The question is, how much lower? So if the book value says this vehicle is worth $45,000 retail, but the Black Wholesale Guidebook says it's worth, let's say, $33,000, well, that's a pretty darn big spread. And that's where I come in to give you the reality of, if I can buy a vehicle for $33,000, I could pay for the shipping, pay for the auction fees, pay for my buyer, get it back to the dealership, mark it up, let's say $2,000 hypothetically, and be able to sell that car for $36,000, even though it has a retail book of $45,000. So in this particular case, you don't want to go by the book value, and that's why you would call Frontier Motors to find out if you're going to sell your car yourself. Maybe you're going to put it on Craigslist or eBay or AutoTrader or Cars.com, or maybe just slap a for sale sign in it. What should you ask for the vehicle? And a lot of times, if you're asking the Kelly Blue Book or the Edmunds retail value, you're asking way too much for the car, and you're wondering 60 days later why you haven't got a phone call. That's because the books are way too high. Now, how do you get this information? One way you can call us right here live on the radio show at 476-1007, 1007. The other way is call Frontier Motors. We're open until 6 o'clock at night. And the phone number there is 436-8080. You can also Google Frontier Motors on the website, and you can email us through our website anytime of day, and we'll try to get back to you as soon as possible with the value of your car. The other couple of things that we help you with, and by the way, when I talk about values, this is not just book values. I can give you a buy value. A buy value is what will I write a check for. Let's say you are going to put your car on Craigslist, and you're trying to get $20,000 for it, and this happened this morning. I was appraising about 50 cars between 5 o'clock this morning and 8 o'clock this morning. In those 3 hours, I appraised over 50 cars. These are cars from private individuals. Out of those 50 cars, there was about 6 of them that I'm paying exactly what they're asking for. Now, why am I doing that? Well, one reason is because they got a price too low, which is unusual. Again, that was, let's just say 5 out of 50 were at where I was giving them what they were asking for the car. The other 45 were way overpriced. So people say, well, I can get a better deal when I buy it privately. I don't really agree with that. Every once in a while, you might trip across a good deal. But what I'm getting at, folks, is that if those people would have called me, I would let them know that they're probably selling the car for a little too cheap. Because if I can buy it for what they're asking, that means I think it's worth more than that, because obviously I'm not going to sell it for what I pay for it. I've got to make a profit. Doesn't mean it has to be an obnoxious profit, and some dealerships do mark up their vehicles quite a bit. At Frontier Motors, because of our low overhead, I don't have to mark the vehicle up that much, and I can still beat the competition and make a profit and beat everybody else out there. The other things that we do at Frontier Motors to help you with, other than just buy your car from you and write you a check and give you the values, is we can give you the history reports of the car that you're looking at. And I brought 2 history reports with me this morning, and one of them that I brought is the Carfax report. Everybody knows it's Carfax. That's probably the largest provider of history reports in the nation, and also the largest. The other one that we also use is AutoCheck. And AutoCheck, we've actually been using AutoCheck for longer than Carfax, and the only reason I was using AutoCheck for longer is because they were about half the price. Carfax is quite important, quite expensive, but Carfax just came out with a program about 2 years ago where they gave us a deal on it, and I can pay one fee and I can run as many as I want. I can run 5,000 of them. It doesn't cost me any more money. If you Google Carfax right now and wanted to find a history report on a car you're looking at, if the dealer doesn't provide it, or if it's a private individual and they don't provide it, it costs about $40 to do this service. And at Frontier Motors, we'll do it at no charge, and gives you some pretty good information. You know, it's not just the accident report that people are looking for, because that's one of the things, of course, you want to know is, has the car ever been in an accident? And that doesn't mean you shouldn't buy it if it has been an accident, but makes you dig a little bit deeper to find out what happened to the car. Was it a minor fender bender? I've had people have cars on Carfax that showed accidents, but there was no damage on it. Just because there was a police report done on a car, you can be a witness at a police in a police report, and your car will show up as an accident. It's kind of crazy, but would make me a little bit mad if I was the one that was being a witness. It'll tell me how many owners it has. It'll tell me also, in this particular car, I've got a Carfax on a 2008 GMC Sierra, and it has a thing on here, and it says plus $440. And what that means that this particular model is selling for $440 higher than the average NADA retail. What that means is that there's either not a lot of them available, or the book value is a little bit lower than what it should be. So that's kind of interesting information that you can have. The other thing it tells me also on this history report is on this particular one, gives me all the oil changes. Every oil change that was ever done, I could see that the dealer took it a lot of times. The customer took a lot of times back to the dealership to have it, and they also took it to a couple of other places. They took it to this is a GMC model, but they took it to a Chevy dealership for oil changes. They took it to Hazelwood GM Super Center for oil changes. And it could give me all the oil changes. It gives me all of the maintenance they had done, and it tells me how many owners that the vehicle have and where the vehicle was registered and the last time it got sold. Very good information that we will provide at no charge at Frontier Motors, and I can do both of them for you. And the reason you want to do both, the AutoCheck and the Carfax, is because you get different information on both of them. Every once in a while, you have one that has bad information that should be on both, and they're not. Don't ask me why. I've seen it go both ways, where AutoCheck shows something bad on it, and Carfax is clean, and the Carfax shows something bad, the AutoCheck is clean. So you definitely want to run both. And what we do at Frontier Motors, which is kind of nice for you, the individual that's coming and shopping for a car at Frontier Motors, we make copies of these reports and we put them in our glove box. So you don't have to ask for them. I had this happen 2 weeks ago where a customer was trading in their car. And I told them, and I was appraising it. They had bought it 6 months earlier from a major metropolitan dealership in the Pensacola area. Metropolitan dealer, I guess that's an exaggeration, but it was a major dealer in the Pensacola area, and it showed what I consider a bad Carfax. And what I mean by that is that it had a major accident, the airbags were deployed, and the vehicle had to be towed. And I would think that that's pretty major. The customer said that he was told by the dealership that it was in a minor fender bender. And I pulled it out and showed it to him. Well, that shouldn't have anything to do with the value. Well, let me ask you, the vehicle you're looking at, I think they were looking at a 2013 Nissan Murano. I said, if the Murano that I'm selling you, I think it had 3,000 miles on it, had been in a major accident, the airbags were deployed, and it had to be towed home, you wouldn't care? Of course you would care. So it makes a difference. And what I'm getting at, folks, is that we show you the history report. We don't tell you about it. And if a dealership tells you about it and doesn't show it to you, and I asked that customer, Mr. Customer, they told you it was an offender bender. Did you ever see that for the Carfax? No, they didn't. They didn't give it to me. So that's interesting that you just took their word for it. And I'm not sure. I know there's honest dealerships out there, but I also know there's a lot of dishonest dealerships out there. And I can tell you about the dishonest dealerships because in my used car news, it has a major article right on the front page. It says the Federal Trade Commission announced that 9 auto dealers agreed to settle deceptive advertising charges in a nationwide sweep focusing on the sale, financing, and leasing of motor vehicles. And I've been talking about this ever since we've been in Pensacola for the last 18 years, is that some of the dealer advertising that they use, not just nationwide, but also right here in Pensacola, is very deceptive. And what I mean by that, one of the places in California got slapped, allegedly violated the FTC Act by deceptively advertising that customers could purchase vehicles at specific low prices when in fact the price was $5,000 higher than advertised, and you could not qualify for the rebates they used to get the price down to there. So, and I see that happening a lot, where you'll see a vehicle advertised, and this happens right here in Pensacola, a new vehicle advertised for $10,000 off the window sticker. Well, if the markup on the vehicle is only $3,000 and the rebate is $2,000, that's $5,000. How can they knock off $10,000? What they're doing is they're either marking the vehicle up over the original list price by putting extra garbage on the vehicle, or they're putting all the rebates in one bucket and saying, if you qualify for all the rebates, you can get $10,000 off the MSRP. Well, that's deceptive because you'll never qualify for all the rebates. Another dealer got in trouble because it said that you could pay $0 up front to lease a vehicle when in fact the advertising amounts excluded the substantial fees and other amounts. And you'll see this, and I see this happen in Pensacola also. Now, you don't even know it's a lease, but they'll say $0 money down. Well, what that means is that they don't want any money down on the vehicle, but you got to come up with the taxes in advance, and you got to come up with all the fees in advance. Well, the taxes and fees over a 60-month time frame could be as much as $4,000. Well, if you got to come up with and I think that's what you're talking about. If you got to come up with $4,000 to pay the fees, it's not exactly $0 money down in my book. I can go on, but there's other things. Low monthly payments was another one. Another one was that they had a key that would unlock a car, and they were sending out 20,000 keys, and if you have the lucky key, you win the car, but nobody ever got the key. Well, how would you know if anybody ever won the car? Nobody ever got a key. So these are things that I find fault with when we talking about dealerships that are not exactly honest, and there's other dealerships that are honest. One of the reasons we do this show, folks, is to get the word across, and I think that if you're watching this on TV or if you're listening to us on the radio, that you got to give us a try when you're ready to be in the market, just to find out if what we talk about, we really do on this radio show / TV show. And what I'm getting at is that if you come in and you want some advice on what your car's worth, you want some advice on what you should pay for a new car, I have the new car cost guides, which are the cost guides that I subscribe to that gives me the retail price of any car out there and also the invoice amount. And I have my Consumers Reports right here that says that if you want an invoice through Consumers Reports, it costs you $14 per report and $12 for each initial report, and that's through Consumers Reports. I've got these invoices, folks, at no charge, and I'll share them with you. You can sit at my desk, open a book. If you're looking at buying a Buick or buying an Audi or something like that, I can tell you, here's the retail price, here's the dealer cost, here's what the rebates are. But I think the most important thing that I can help you with is, because you can get a lot of this stuff on the internet even without me, is what should they appraise your car for after you make your best deal? So if you've got a vehicle you're looking at and it's $35,000 and they're selling it to you for, let's say, $30,000, and based on all your research, you know that's a good deal, and you toss them the keys for your car, you've already been in Frontier Motors, and I've given you an appraisal value of $15,000. Well, if that particular dealership says, I'm going to give you $12,000 for your car, that doesn't mean you have to get mad and get upset. That just means you're armed with the ammunition that you can say no. And the first thing he's going to say, well, why not? Well, I went to Frontier Motors, and they told me that my car is worth $15,000. And the next question out of the salesman's mouth sometimes is, well, would they be willing to put that in writing? You've already got it in writing. When we give you a buy bid on your car, we put it in writing. It's good for 7 days or 1,000 miles. That doesn't mean I won't buy it after 7 days, but I just have to be careful to make sure I don't take a bunch of them in trade like that, where it might change the appraisal. And that leads me to the other reason. Why would you get a low appraisal on a car if I'm telling you it's worth $15,000 and the dealer's telling you it's worth $12,000? Why is that? One reason could be he's trying to steal the car from you. He's trying to get it cheap. That's how they make money. They buy it cheap and they sell it for high. That's how they make money. So that's one reason. Maybe they just want to get it cheap. Now, the other reason might be is they don't have the money to buy your car. And people always wonder about this. They got these multi-million-dollar mausoleums. But if the used car manager has a $1 million floor plan, in other words, he's able to stock $1 million worth of used cars, and let's say he's at $1.1 million already, and now you bring on this $15,000 car, he's not going to be able to appraise it because he doesn't have the money. So what he does, he goes to an intermediary, a wholesaler or slash broker. That broker takes a piece of the action, and if that broker says the most I'm paying you is $12,000 for that car, he's somewhat at the mercy of the broker. So what he does is he uses that appraisal. He's not trying to steal your car. That's just all he's gotten for the car. So you get a lower appraisal because they don't have the money. The other reason might be because he's got 5 of them in stock just like yours, and they're not selling. And if that's the case, he's not going to step up to the plate and pay major money for your car. And what if their used car department sells 30 cars a month? Unlike our used car department at Frontier Motors, we sell 200 cars a month. That makes a big difference because our turn ratio is way faster. Plus, because we sell all make and models, if you go to a Lexus dealership with a Ford pickup truck, you're probably going to get a lower appraisal than normal because there's not too many people walking to a Lexus dealer buying Ford pickup trucks. So they hit that appraisal maybe based on the book value, and they use the low book value. And I'll give you an example when we talk about, here's an 08 Ford pickup truck, and it's a 1-ton King Ranch. The low appraisal is $23,000. The high appraisal is $26,000. So there's a spread between $3,000 between high and low. So they're going to take the vehicle in based on low book versus high book. We're able to pay high book for it because we have the experience of what those vehicles are selling for because we sell them all the time. And that's one advantage that we have at Frontier Motors. Being an independent dealership instead of a franchise dealership, we sell all makes and models. So we have experience selling everything from Mini Coopers to smart cars to F-350 diesels to conversion vans to sports cars, four-door sedans, economy cars, hybrids, diesels. We sell them all. And when you sell 200 cars a month, well, to sell 200 cars a month, I'm appraising probably 500 to 1,000 cars a month. Because that's how many cars you have to appraise to be able to buy those cars. Every car that we sell, we have to replace. And right now, our inventory is actually a little bit low, and the reason I'm mentioning this, folks, is because the show is not just about Frontier Motors, which I guess it kind of is, and about the car business, but also to let people out there know that we do buy cars. I would rather buy a car from a private individual like yourself, if you're listening or watching the show, than buy one from someone I don't know. And what I mean is I'd rather buy one from you than buy one at the auction. Now, there's nothing wrong with buying cars at the auction. People ask me, well, how many cars do you get at auction? I get probably about 30 to 35% of our cars at the auction. One reason I like buying them from the auction, because the auction guarantees the car, where you as a private individual don't. But the advantage I have from buying from a private individual, one thing is you bring it to me. I don't have to go to the auction. So you bring it to my doorstep. Number two, I have the ability to test drive the car and get the car inspected before I write you a check, which I don't have to do that at the auction. The car goes into the auction lane. I've got seconds to be able to bid on that car and make a wise decision. And fortunately these days, with the smartphones, our buyers that are right at that auction, they can scan the ID number, get the history reports, get the black wholesale book, get the retail book, get the eBay reports and Craigslist reports and cars.com, and they'll tell me every car that's out there and what they're selling for. So it lets them make a good decision to make sure the car has never been in an accident and what they should pay for the car. And the other thing is, like I said, that the auction will guarantee the car, so that if I buy a car that has a situation with it, let's say, for example, the transmission slipping, I can cancel that deal. Depending on the auction, sometimes it's within $300 of what I paid for the vehicle. So if it's more than $300 for repairs, I can just cancel the deal. So to me, and I can't do that when I buy a car from you. I've had this happen already where I take the car around the block. The car's a good car. 2 days later, the transmission's out of the car. Guess who? I don't call you back and say, hey, you sold me a car with a bad transmission. I could, but it's pretty much the check's been cashed and I'm out of luck. So at that particular juncture, I've got to be very careful. But I'd rather buy it from a private individual where I have the ability to take the car for around the block and do my due diligence by putting it in the computer. The cool thing about the smartphones these days, I scan the barcode. I'm not sure if you know this, but at the grocery store, everybody knows what a barcode is at the grocery store. Well, every car has a barcode. So now with the smartphones these days, I have a program that's called True Target, and what I do is I hit scan the VIN, and it gives me a little VIN bar like this. I put it right on your little scan bar, and all of a sudden what pops up is all of the reports that I need to know. The Carfax report, the history report, the auto check report. It tells me what the cars are going for at the auction. It tells me what private individuals are asking for their car. I can also at that point take pictures of the car. So if I have another manager or a salesman that has a customer for that car, we've got pictures in the computer. And within minutes, I can give you a buy bid on that car. Now, that's really important, folks, if you're going to buy a car, a brand new car at a new car dealership. And if you're going to be buying it here in Pensacola, we urge you always to try to bring your business right here to Pensacola, and I can show you how you do that. Get all the pricing outside the area. Wouldn't that be great to know what we could buy, what the depreciation is on that smart car versus a new one? So if the new one it happens to be $20,000 and we have ours on the inventory on the internet right now for $13,800 with 1,000 miles on, that to me is a $7,000 savings over a brand new one, or about a $6,000 savings over a brand new one. On top of that, we'll use your car as a trade-in. And don't forget, if you sell your car to somebody else, you've got to pay more taxes. So if you find a dealership that happens to have the car that you like Frontier Motors, we can use it as a trade-in. How about if you're going to go and look at a 2010 Dodge Challenger SRT8? The SRT8 is a high-performance Challenger. I believe it's got a Hemi supercharged motor. The thing is very, very fast, huge horsepower. This car is a 3-year-old Challenger and has 1,058 miles on it. Somebody bought it and put it in the garage and never drove it. 2014 Honda Odyssey Touring. If you're going to buy a brand new Odyssey, I'd say go to Pensacola Honda. They sell brand new ones. They're a great dealership. They're right up the road. They got true pricing, one pricing for everybody. It's very easy to do business with them. I would definitely urge you, if you're going to buy new, go to Pensacola Honda. But why not take a look at our 2014 with 1,900 miles on it, and let's see how much we can save you over the price of a brand new one. Don't forget, folks, even though these cars only have 1,000 miles on, I technically have to sell them as used. So if they're 2 months old, you will lose 2 months of the warranty because the clock is ticking on them. But if I could save you $5,000 or $6,000 and maybe pay $1,000 or $2,000 more for the trade-in, your total overall sales could be astronomical. And the reason that is because when you drive off the lot with a brand new car, that car tomorrow morning is used. And people always say, well, why would you have a 1,000-mile used car? Well, there's a lot of reasons. Number one, customer bought it, got all excited about it, thought he could swing the $680 car payments, and decided a month later, he came out of the ether after writing that first check and said, there is no way that I want to pay $680 a month for this vehicle. So they go and they trade it in for something cheaper. And let's say they took this Odyssey Touring, they traded it in for a little Fiat. Well, the next day that Odyssey is at the auction. That's where I snap it up with 1,000 miles on it. There's also sometimes where the rental car companies will overbuy. They'll buy 500 Impalas. They don't use them all. Next thing I know, they got brand new Impalas at the auction, because they're just sitting in the pen. So they're depreciating every month. So I'm able to buy these vehicles, even though they're brand new, for a depreciated amount, be able to pass the savings on to the customer, still make money, but beat all the competition because now it's been depreciated. And that's, I don't begrudge a new car dealership. I actually sold new cars for longer than I've been selling used cars. I did that for a living. So somebody has to buy a new car. I just don't want it to be you. I need you to buy a new car, for those of you that are in this listening audience, because I can't get any used cars if somebody doesn't buy a new car. I'm in the used car business. So what I do is I take advantage of somebody else that's made a mistake. And I buy that car $1,000 cheaper. I'm able to put it on the lot and save you the money and still make money on the vehicle. Everybody ends up being happy. And because we have such a great used car department, because we only sell used cars, I'm able to pay a little bit more money for that trade-in. And I can give you an out-the-door figure. And that's one of the things that I really pride ourselves at Frontier Motors of doing, is that I can give you one figure. The only figure that's important, people always put so much emphasis on the discount, the rebate, the trade-in value, the fees. I don't really care about that. We charge a doc fee to do the paperwork of $299. I know there's some dealerships in Pensacola that charge $800 for a doc fee. I don't begrudge them for doing that. The state says you got to charge everybody the same if you're going to charge a doc fee, but you got to charge everybody. But what I don't like is when they don't tell you about it. So when you come to Frontier Motors, what we do is we have our list price, our discounted price, our trade-in value, all the fees, and then that bottom line. I circle that bottom line, and I highlight it, and I make you a copy of that. And I say, now, if you're not sure, and let's use our Odyssey, for example. I'll give you an out-the-door figure of that Odyssey with the doc fee, the title fee, the tax fee, all the turbo taxes, and all the stuff that they charge you. I'll give you that one figure. And then you go to the new car dealership, and you see how much theirs is going to be. Well, if theirs is only $700 more, I'd be the first one to say buy a new one. But what if it's $5,000 more? Most people, for $5,000, if they can find a low-mileage vehicle that has no issues, non-smoker, not chipped up, not dinged up, got the keys, no paint work, clean history report, they're going to save the money. And they're going to buy from Frontier Motors. And that's what the word is all about. Buy from Frontier Motors. If you're going to buy a brand new car, call us. We'll tell you what to pay. We've already went through the history reports. I don't know, the other thing that I was going to mention is that I just got a little thing here in my automotive news that says that the average transaction price for a brand new car, let me see if I can find it, in the last month was $30,800. That's the average transaction price of a brand new car. Now, that's average. It says that General Motors and Volkswagen achieved high records for their average transaction prices of $36,400. That's the average transaction price of a new car. The average transaction price of a used car is $17,500. A little bit of a difference. I'm talking about a car that might be 3 years old. And that's what we're talking about, depreciation. Thousands of dollars every year the car depreciates. And what we do is we sit down, we try to talk you out of buying a brand new car and buying one that's maybe 6 months old, maybe 3 months old, maybe 2 years old. Obviously, the older we go, the more I'm going to save you. I normally advertise we have 300 cars in inventory. We're actually a little down on cars right now, folks. I've only got 267 cars in inventory. We've got about 2 truckloads coming in, so we're going to be at about 280 cars. I'd like to be at somewhere between 300 and 350 total cars, so we're about 70 to 80 cars down. Again, I'm getting the word out. If you've got a car to sell, don't put it on Craigslist. I don't know if I'd feel comfortable. I don't know if you know this, but the sun goes down at, I think last time I checked it was 5:28. It's dark out. Well, if people work till 5, by the time they get to your house, it's dark out. You want people coming over your house at night, test driving your car? I'd be a little nervous about it. I'm not saying that everybody's a scammer, but I'd just be a little bit nervous about it. Why not bring the car to Frontier Motors and I'll write you a check for that car? And if that check that I write you is not enough, we maybe can sell the car for you on consignment. I normally give you a little bit more money on consignment because I don't have to tie up my cash. So see what that difference is going to be. It varies from car to car. We can do history reports for you. We can talk about what you should pay if you're going to buy a car. If you decide to sell your car yourself, we can tell you what you should ask for that car, not just book value, but reality value. We can do the comps for you. We can scan the VIN on the car and give you your history report on your car and the car you're looking at, tell you what to pay on a brand new car. We've got so many things that we offer, but I think probably the coolest thing we offer is 11 salespeople that will help you pick out a car and not try to sell you a car. There's a big difference there. People hate the car buying experience because the dealers make it so bad. And you always ask stupid questions like, well, how much do you want for your car? What do you want to pay for our car? What do you want your payments to be? How much do you want to put down? You won't get those stupid questions at Frontier Motors. What we're going to do is sell you a car the way you want to be sold. And the way that we do that is have you pick one out. Take it for a test drive. Do the competition. We've got all the competition on the lot. We'll make it real easy. It's almost like going to a car show. And that makes it so much simpler for you to be able to make that decision within a relatively short period of time. We're open until 6 o'clock at night. We're located at 230 Beverly Parkway. Our phone number is 436-8080. Just Google Frontier Motors. We're the first Frontier Motors that shows up. There's about 5 of them in the nation, but we're the largest. So it'll go put you right into our website. We can do that free appraisal service for you. Make it real easy to buy a car. Thanks for listening and thanks for watching. Have a great day. Auf Wiedersehen.
Best car, SUV, or truck, guess what? You're in luck. Frontier Motors is down the street. Got the best deals that can't be beat. Don't overpay, come in today. Doing business the old-fashioned way. Frontier, we've got the right price. Frontier, we'll treat you mighty nice. Frontier Motors, low overhead.